This is day number 196 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Mem Aleph Sif Vav to Siman Kuf Mem Beis Sif Dalet. In Siman Kuf Mem Aleph, we are speaking about reading Torah standing up, and recently we spoke about not two people not reading the Torah together and how it works when you get an aliyah, undertone, overtone, and now, as I said, we're holding in Sif Vav. This is, in fact, which I've never seen, that there's still people today who still follow the Gemara, that the person who gets aliyah reads the Torah. The Torah not to pass people who don't know the tzchop. So all that with a prompter up by the person who gets aliyah. And the prompter says each and every word first. And then the Korah says it. Okay, the basic Dosi brings out this is the Romanian custom. Who knows? There is a source for this. Rashi Shabbos Beis. He assists the seven readers kudos and with the vowels, and the trop, the lachash, silently on shom. Shnei kolos is not two kolos. Shnei kolos is when they both say it at the same time, simultaneously. But here, when the makri is reading, shosek ola, ola is silent. Then the ola says the words, word or words, makri shosek, and the prompter is silent. So to each every word. From Rashi emerges the Kema da Makri Omer Belachash, since the Makri is saying it silently, Lei Slom Boy, it's not a problem. Therefore we have to be careful today as well. I've been in simple places. There's not one person knows how to learn. And one person looks in the Chumash. And he reads for the person who's reading the Torah. Omer kol teva v'teva yasukein zeminos ulo yitzaitu. Okay, not sure exactly why, but he says that it's not possible that there's not going to be an overlap. It's not possible that this one will be silent when this one says it. I guess perhaps because the prompting is more or less simultaneous, and that they should go back and forth from word to word. Anyway, it's difficult, and they're not going to listen anyway, I guess. So at least they're just saying undertone, so he's not being heard by the tzibur. So this is given by an agent, by Moshe Rabbeinu. There's got to be an agent there. That's where the Shliach Tzibur is the Baal Kriya. The Shliach Tzibur is the Sarasur. So the Baal Kriya is the agent. This is my name, She'oleh HaKorei. Then, when the Ole himself was laid, so they required the Shliach Tzibur to stand next to him. Shliach Tzibur the Shliach Tzibur himself wants again Aliyah Tzarich Shamar Acher Etzlo. Somebody else has to stand by him. Let's say by us we're makabid that on both sides of the Ola there should be an agent. I know a Kori mitzad echad, about Kori on one side, and a Kori Skam mitzad sheni, and the Gabbai on the other side. The Torah, when the Torah was a Kush Baruch Hu, Moshe Yisrael. Right, Kush Baruch Hu on one side, so on the other side, and Moshe in the middle. And so too wrote the Levush. Now there are many places nowadays where they're makabid on having two Gabbai Rishon on one side, Gabbai Sheni on the other side. That's not necessary. Even though people are often makabid on it, Arukh HaShulchan is saying what's necessary is to have three people present, the Gabbai, the Ola, and the Kori. Ches. Ein HaTzibur HaShoim Lanos Amen. The Tzibur can't answer Amen. Ad Shetzich LeBracha B'Piyah. By the way, I should mention this. Arukh HaShulchan comes out, it would seem, specifically, that the Gabbai is being three Gabbai, Ola, Kore, right? Not Ola, Kore, Gabbai. The Gabbai speaks to the right of the Ola and not to the left. Um, Ain't tzibur shloim nikolonos amen. This is ches. Ain't tzibur shloim nikolonos amen. Actually, the bracha be a kori. You can't answer amen until the bracha is completed. So if the guy's going, so they can't say amen until he actually finishes. And the kori is not going to return until the tzibur finishes saying amen. You have to admit for people who are extend their amens. It's like the Haman by the Megillah. You have to wait until everybody stops making noise. There he said that you don't have to write. We don't have to wait for the people who are saying amen at length. It depends. Because Kohanim, everybody has to hear. So therefore, you have to wait till the Amen finishes. Everybody has to hear. And therefore, you have to wait until the Amen is finished. According to strictly Avlo, you can call two brothers up, one after each other, and the father but the son after the father, or vice versa. El Shnoglim Ram is accustomed to refrain from this. Shem Ayin Hora. Even one is Shvi and one is Maftir. Evidently, there are people who are Choshish for that as well. I seem to recall that people are not so Choshish. That's what Mishnah Berurah says when we get to the end of the Sif. Hafka b'Shabbos. There's only specific Shabbos. Shem Hafka Korah b'Zeh Sefer Torah. This is what Sefer Torah reads same Sefer Torah Shekun Karu. Everybody read it. He says Mafti the Sefer Torah. And Lo Chashul Ayin Hora, there's no people not concerned with Ayin Hora. Because Shem Ba'achron B'Hagba. Hagba is not part of it. Shein Chashash B'Seh. Then two brothers go Achron Hagba, brother and son, father and son. Man Lo Kapi Yochel Asos K'Moshe Yertzeh. And somebody's not concerned with Ayin Hora, they can do whatever they want. Okay, Man Lo Kapi Lo Kapi Mei. Chamoy Pesach Sheishnei Sifrei Torah. This is in brackets. Chamoy Pesach. Sheishnei Sifrei Torah Gankin Chashash. Chamoy Pesach, when there's two Sifrei Torah, so there's no Chashash. Also, that's considered to be like a separate maftir in a separate Sefer Torah. So it's like Mishnah Berurah for something on this Sif. Mishnah Berurah says, which was the first one? Hey, okay. Mishnah Berurah. Cool. Sure about that. Okay. The Mishnah writes, Achronim say that the minhag is that the Koreh says Amen with the Tzibur B'Kol Ram, and then goes a little bit longer than Tzibur, in order that everybody should pay, start focusing. So that's why you have the Baal Koreh says Amen. Now, Lamaisa, you should really start according to Mishnah Berurah together with the call and not after the call, as very often is the case, because it could be like even Amen Yisoima, because it's being said at a distance from the bracha. So it's preferable to say it right afterwards and to be marach afterwards. To extend, the Baal Kodesh extends Amen until after everybody else is finished. The Mishnah Berurah also writes that people about refraining, brother, father and son, brother and brother, if they called him, he already went up, you shouldn't go down. Because of Ayin Hora, Mishnah Berurah writes, there's no difference between brothers from the father, from the mother, and some people are machmir with a father and a grandchild. Nevertheless, you can, if it's a place where it's necessary, you can be matir father adjacent to grandchild. Shar Ephraim allows, when necessary, even brothers from the mother, one after each other. Shmuel writes that the place, where can the maftir be, where can the maftir also not be a brother or a father or son? That's where they call it the maftir by his name. A place where they call the maftir skam, yamod maftir, then it's mutter take even two brothers or father and son right after another. And also, if the minhag is by shvi, I guess it's a yamod shvi, so then you can call them shishin shvi. And this is only where there's a minhag like that. But without a minhag, where the minhag is to call out by name, the fact that they decide not to mention the name is not an exit strategy. If the maftir is also, Mishnah Berurah says maftir is not a bar mitzvah, So which you rarely see nowadays. It also could be a father for Shvi and the son for Maftir. Sif Tes. Ola Bima Lalos the Torah. Somebody who goes up to the Bima to get an Aliyah, you should go in the shortest possible way to get up to the Bima. When he goes down, you should go the other side, in a longer way. To show that it is difficult for him to take leave of the Sefer Torah. Again, I did this yesterday too. I left that one Mishnah Berurah. There's so many of them. I have one out from the previous Sif. Mishnah Berurah writes that even people not makbid Ein you should be makbid in this anyway, not to have two brothers or brother and son, etc. Okay, back over here. So you should go back on the longer way to show that it's difficult for you to leave the Sefer Torah. So therefore, the Bima is in the middle of Shul. Inside the Rome, those who stand on the south, inside the Rome Bali they should go to the south when they go up. Share the other son, and when they come down, they go up in the opening on the south side. They're standing on the south, from the opening south side when they go up, and when they come down on the north side. Share the other Tzafon. When it's Tzafon, those who stand on the north side, who left a come, it's the opposite. Only Benza basic Nestor shared Racham Shamel side Milshul, where both the paths are equidistant. Yech Bal Yosid side Yamin should go up towards the right when you're going up. On its side Tzafon should be Mino, which is to the north side when it's on his right side. The Yosid side small, and when he comes down to the left side, which is to the south. Always turn to the right. We take the Torah to the Bima, to the north. That's not going towards the right. When you come back and go towards the other side, the south, interesting halacha. That's when the two ways are equal. If you know, as is customary, our own by Bima, by Mam, Mamish Bamsa Besakasa. They're both in the middle of the shul in sync with each other. One they're lopsided. One way is shorter, one way is longer. Then when you take it the short way, and back on the long way. Like when you get an aliyah. Mishnah Berurah is not sure about that. He says maybe the Sefer Torah always goes on the right, even if it's a longer way, which I think is the custom nowadays. Yurav, of course, it comes to play more when you have a makeshift minyan. That'll be an issue. And things are not constructed symmetrically. So the Ola should not go down for the Bima after the Kriya, cause much line before somebody else goes up. Not leave a without an Ola. And some people wait until the next Ola says Baruch Hu. And so minhag pasha nowadays the minhag is showing it ad achar shekara bar achrav. They stand there for the entire next aliyah. Buzz already, then he goes down big gavra between aliyahs. Tato yesh lo shoslo. When he come out, this gives him time to cut to his place. Cut him shebarach Ola shachar achrav before the Ola, which is after the one after him, comes to make his bracha. So he has a little bit extra time ben gavra. Of course, nowadays, when we're making this series, with the coronavirus, people do not linger. They make the complete aliyah and leave the bima. At least it's Sargono. You pay Sarkali Zormo Bekeri. The person who's being taught to be very careful not to be a Baal Keri. Steve. No. That was so wrong. Wow. Sorry about that. That was a real blooper. Okay. Sarach HaKori Lizarma Bekri. Kori has to be very careful by Kri. They read it correctly. Kri Uksiv. In the way it's read, which is versus the way it's written. Of course, you should always know. There are many different ways things are spelled. Sometimes Yud appears as a Vav. The Vav is Yud, whatever. And you have to be very careful to know it. The cross of the Kri, you have to read it according to the way it's supposed to be read. It should be written one way and read another way. Even though you're reading it because that's not what's written inside. Like, case of says Chorim, and we read it into Chacha. forget what it says, what the Kriya Ksiv is there, but they're two different, completely different words. The Kach is the same name, but should be a Gvar, because Kriya Ksiv go back to Moshe Rabbeinu. There is, of course, a different Shita, which is not brought down here, that the Kriya Ksiv come from Ezra Sofer. Ezra Sofer made, whenever he put together his Sefer Torah from the Sefer Torah which are available at the time, and whenever there's a discrepancy from the Shina Sefer Torah which are available to him, he made one version, and there wasn't a rove. I think he usually followed the rove. But wasn't there a clear-cut majority, he would make one version of the Kri and one version of the Ksiv. But the other Shita, as brought down here, is that it's from Moshe Pia Gvura, had the Kri Ksiv, Kasar Bebe says to Ches, the Ma'isa Bechot Shekrak Moshe Ksuva, the person who read it as it was written, Ubisham Kri Lokvi Ksiv, and there the Kri and the Ksiv were not the same. But as in Gdolei Adar, and this is one in front of the Gdolei Adar, Hari Abuav, Ra Valas Nasi, Ubuno Rashva Nasi. It's obviously in Tzvas. V'hitru bo sheikrokavi ha'masor shekibal misina v'lo. They told me to read like our Masor, which is that the Kri is different than the Ksiv. They killed Lud and they cursed them, and they distanced him. For Yido Sameh Temi, they took him off the bima. Okay. Kubet Beis, Dimish Shetob Kriyaso. So he made him saying Kriya. Shein Kam Mishadel the Cross. So what happens if you don't have anybody who knows that lane, which we already touched on previously. Aleph. Kasa Rambam Perikut Beis. Yeah, the Rambam writes in Perikut Beis, involve Kar B'Toa Afilu B'Tikluk Aus Achas. If you made a mistake, even in the precise pronunciation of one letter, Machzirno, so you have to go back until you read it with precision. Akal Ashor. Kein Pasag Rabbeinu Beis Yosef. Shalom Mikil Reish Beredal. Omer Avagav Dein Targum Akev. Even though the translation is not an impediment, if you made a mistake in the translation, Machzir say may go back Ein Sham, and therefore it's Kavachomer Dvarim. Tim but Targum Machzir Matos. If with the Targum you make him go back, Koshkim Taratzma certainly by the Torah itself. For Od Sham Ta Ben Table is Teva Machzir. Also says that you made a mistake between words, you may go back, such as an example in brackets, Mokeves or Kesev. Avin Kain. Do we do this? Meaning, Levaisho Barabin? Do we embarrass him in public? You're not sure about that? I feel Ben Im Leviim. Left out of over, add of Machzino, so we make him go back in public or enforce the Hedgehog Rambam. So that is clear like the Rambam. Very, very meticulous. Base, Zeshan Torah. Kasaba Mani Yutor Kori or Chazan Makrio. So if the Kori made a mistake or the prompter made a mistake, Tov Shalolagia Alav Al Shigosa Barabin. Don't correct him in public. Shalab in front of, not to embarrass him. Dafi should tell by Yotzei Kriya. You only made a mistake in the way you read it, you're Yotzei. You said Medrash Shim Kara the Aaron Horan Yotza. And this with Aaron as Horan. You're Yotzei. The Rambam's out close, I'm going to show you the Rambam differs. The different Manik Tmuim, Yerushalmi Shebeinu. Manik seems to be astonishing based on Yerushalmi. For Rambam Medrash Yotzei Tzemua. And the Medrash is even more, to bring up evidence, this Medrash is even more difficult. The Medrash of Bashir Shirim, this Medrash is Al Pasuk Hevyana Beis Yain. The Zelshar Medrash, this is what it says, Amracha Am Oresh Korei La'ava Eva. Am Oresh writes love as if it is animosity, Ava Eva. Amrakosh Baruch Kosh Baruch Zebedilu Go like Ava. He's skipping it, in other words, his inaccuracy is beloved before me. Somebody who calls Aaron Haran, a child who does that. His stuttering or his mumbling, his mispronunciation is beloved of me. So it seems clear the Medrash is talking about a child or an Amor to reading themselves for love, or not by public landing. Besides, what's the evidence in there? They can't say properly. They're not properly educated. Have a Kori, but the person who is the Baal Kori, why can't we make him say properly? Masha was that bonus party was to do the embarrassment. And came guy with feelings. She told Lord said him, so we should never make a person go back because it embarrasses him. Brackets. He says with minig is like the manig, they're not to correct publicly, and not like the Rambam. Chindumani Arukh HaShulchan says, I think Shnogin Kla Rambam. I think that they go like the Rambam that we do correct publicly. Now he's going to elaborate on it and give an approach. I think both of them are right. They're both right. Both true. But the mistake is in the word itself. You distorted the word. Im ve'im, added vav, detracted the vav chetzimo. Avsheni mishtani, even though he does not change the meaning, also. We make him go back. If he made a mistake in the trop, so we don't make him go back. That's what the manik means. Maybe Rayami Aaron Horon Klomar, and then the Horon is to say, Birmina by Medish, Bailish can be Fneatza. Says Medish says when people read by themselves, after the Bashir tables, even if they get distort the words, Chaviv Nekosh Baruch Hu, express before Hashem, Koshkim B'Torah, B'Korah Torah, B'Tamim. It's only when a person reads the Torah and just makes a mistake in Trop, it's Chaviv for Hashem. Kavaras Ramu al Shinu Tables, the Ram is going specifically on changing letters. On changing words, I'm sorry. In other words, distorting the words, not the trop. As he says, he says, so by his name and other gedolim, Shato Korim, B'Dikdu Katam, the Bali Kriya made a mistake in the precision of the trop. V'gam b'pasach v'kamatz, A and O, Sego v'tzere, E and A, which is even in the kudos. Probably should go even though they rebuked them a bit. Let's assume they didn't make them go back. First, so the Arukh HaShulchan says it's specifically by words we have to be meticulous and you have to correct and publicly. By trop and adding here the kudos, which we're going to discuss more next if, even starting to change the kudos, you don't have to, you go ksas, but you don't make them go back, and I guess don't make a big deal about it. I was recently at a shul where Bar Mitzvah boy was saying, and about the Rav said, nobody corrects the Bar Mitzvah boy except for the Gabbai. Absolutely nobody else. It's the Rav said to me that he knows Bar Mitzvah boy who was corrected so many times in his Bar Mitzvah Parsha, and afterwards he just left the religion. So you have to be very sensitive to who you're correcting when you're correcting. You should know the Shem Kudos changing the vowels. It's okay only when that doesn't change the meaning. Come on, Shamayim bekomatz Shamay Shamayim bekomatz or Shamayim bepasach doesn't change. Or Eretz bekomatz or Oretz bekomatz or Eretz b'shnei segol lechetz doesn't change the meaning. Amakom sheini mishtanek where it changes come Chalav bekomatz v'chelem b'tzere. Big difference between milk and fats. V'chetz etc. B'vadim of so they may go back. V'zosh chasar bein ramah. Dav kashinu shemishtana ayidei zeh ha'inyan. Simply where there is a change in the inyan. Kamo im tov meginas atam, maybe it's taking the trop or menikud or in vowelization. When it doesn't change meaning, so you don't go back. But we do rebuke him. It means like this. It doesn't mean to say it's not time to change a word. Change a word even though Inya doesn't change. Mokeves kesef machzerna, so man go back. So say about the vowels when the manner changes. Come on, cholav chelem. So there you go back. But a place where it doesn't change the Indian, so you don't go back. The die show the koze ein chil ben kshori atzmo kore ben kshori shliv kore. Doesn't matter who's reading the oile or the Baal Kriya. The Baal Kriya is standing in front of the same oile. That's the Pesach Ramah. Now like somebody who makes distinctions in this. The Pura brings down that the Sefer Atzei Shitim he added, he says that by Nikinas Tamim, if it changes the Indian, such as when you read a trop which connects instead of a trop which interrupts, in other words, basically you left out a comma in the pasuk, so to speak, Machzina said make him go back because he distorted the issue which is being read. Okay, now it was supposed to stop today by at this point by Dalit, but this is the end of a Simon, hey, and it's continuation, so let's just finish the Simon. Chosim b'di'evet is only b'di'evet. Certainly, referentially, achiva kore likro b'tamim, we should read with the trop, with dikduk in precision, kedas halacha appropriately, shlo yaniach hana, to make a shva na into a shva nach. Shva na, it has a sound, shva na The Shvanach does not. Hanachana, vice versa. Yishmar the Gushim Refrim, and you should be makbid on Dagush, the roughly. Most of us are not makbid on Dagish anymore, except for Beged Kefes, and not all Beged Kefes. Right? The Korim or Medaktikim are makbid on the Geshim Ashreim. Chekos of Rabbeinu, we say Sivra Godel. Because of the Kosa, Yesh Shorish Godel Mala. It's great ramifications on high. Einsham. Kokam Kosam, see, based on Masura, wrote the Yishu Shesha Minyam, Be'em Yishu Yodel, Kos Patora, Kilchosa, take the time, you don't know, somebody who knows how to read properly and with the proper trap. Pilachikru Patora, Bivracha, Kilchosa, nevertheless, Shvi the Torah, Bivracha. It's appropriate to Minavi and do the maftir. Even it's really a hitter to do it properly. It's just to do it basic, to do it probably the proper trap and pronunciation. You do it no matter what. Came with the Eev Shabin Achas, they have no choice. Chesed Yasu, what should they do? We already mentioned this. Echad might be Chumash, one looks at the Chumash, the Lochish wasn't a Korah by Sefer Torah, and he whispers in the ear of a person to do the reading. Korah Korah Achrav, that's Sefer Torah, and the reader reads in a loud voice after the Sefer Torah, the Be'en Breira Shani. There's no choice, there is no choice.